Good evening and salutations, my GH fans. Let's talk about Esme for a minute because I'm gonna be honest. This is one of those things where it's like it was a bit of luck. Well, let's be honest, it was all luck, but she did play her part. So Carly puts Esme on notice, about the whole sex tape and everything like that, and then Esme starts going at Carly for a little bit because she sees Nicholas coming up the stairs, or well, coming out the elevator. So she starts going at Carly about her divorce and a cold bed and this, that, and the third, and making comments about her daughter. So Carly grabs her arm. And of course, Esme plays it up. She's all like, "Oh, you hurt me. You hurt my arm." And, she's screaming and everything like that. And Nicholas, the fine prince that he is, rushes to her defense and, takes her away and takes her to the hospital. And at this point, Esme puts on her sob story about how no one's gonna trust her, and everyone thinks that I did it, and everyone thinks that, about the sex tape and everything like that. And Nicholas is like, "Yo, listen, no offense, but you do have a sketchy past, though. Like, you came to Port Charles wilding out. I mean, well, my son, but you were still wilding out, though. So let's not sit there and try to, what I'm saying? Like, it's one of those things like you kind of did this on yourself." But with some clever wordplay, she does actually manage to get him on her side. So I, it was one of those things where it's like the way that event turned out, it couldn't have turned out any better. You know, as far as ingratiating herself more into Nicholas and Nicholas' life to try to break them up because that's still a thing with Ryan because reasons. It's fine. I miss Ryan. I mean, he's a serial killer, obviously, but the danger and stuff like that, the suspense and what he's going to do next. That's what I miss. Yeah. So let's talk about Curtis for a minute. So Mrs. Wu come by, and Mrs. Wu is like, "Yo, listen, I like your place and everything like that. I think we should work together." And Curtis is like, no offense, but I'm good. I'm good. I got a lot of stuff going on, and it's just I'm kind of busy right now. So Mrs. Wu wants to open up like a little card playing game, card game game night or whatever. And Curtis is like, yeah, we kind of need a license to do stuff like that. But Mrs. Wu is like, yeah, you may need a license to sit there and collect, but you don't need X, Y, and Z or whatever. So it's one of those things where it's like what she would be doing wouldn't be sketchy because she and him is not making any money off of what they're doing. But it's still sketchy as hell though. And she literally says, "I picked you because you're a good and upstanding man, and you have ties with the police department." And after hearing about it and hearing who's going to run it, which is going to be Brad. So Brad's going to be sitting there running. Because at first, he already didn't like the idea of working with her. And she was like, yeah, I'm not going to be, running the scene or whatever. It's going to be, my nephew Brad. He's changed his ways and, I going to keep him on a tighter leash. That's literally her words. But he's like, yeah, I'm good. And then she says something along the lines of, let me read this. Along the lines of, you may live to regret that mistake. And when she said that, I was like, I'm sorry. That sounded like a threat. That literally sounded like a threat. And Curtis came from behind the bar like, I'm sorry, did you just threaten me? And she was like, no, 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 no. Let me sit there and tell you this story so we can kind of smooth it over. And she told this story about a tree that was going to grow money or something like that. And I was like, Yeah, I get what you're saying, but that still sounds like a threat. I understood what she was basically trying to say. She was like, don't throw this opportunity away. You may live to regret it, as far as, connections and stuff like that. Because she was like, listen, you may not make any money or, like, you may not be worried about making any money off the side, but the connections, the music industry and stuff like that, these are going to be upstanding business people. And that could really benefit your club. And I was like, well, that is true. I mean, you are an up and starting club, and you can use as many connections as you can get. But again, given her reputation and given this whole card game thing, and now granted, again, I don't know the legalities of it. I remember they were talking about glossing over a little bit, but I don't know. With soap operas and their legal jargon, sometimes you're just like, this don't sound right. None of this sounds right. I'm not a lawyer, and I'm not a doctor. I know that half of the stuff you were saying made no sense. But so I understand the legal finances of it. My point is, it just is like, yeah, that sounds too sketchy. And then this woman sends a tree delivered to the place, and it says something. I don't exactly remember what it said, but it says something, and it had a chip there or whatever. I'm like, it's so good to have her back. She actually did a I don't know if he calls it a podcast or Maurice Bernard does, but he had her on his show, and I was thinking about watching it. I don't know. I think I tried to watch one with Chad Duell, and in the beginning was just really awkward. I mean, listen, I'm not the best when it comes towards openings, but as much as I love Maurice Bernard, sometimes he can be a little kind of like awkward at times, and it just makes things kind of difficult to watch. But I may actually sit there and watch it because well, this is what. Um, Now Brad and Britt are hanging out at some fancy place and kind of just like chit chatting and just talking or whatever, just kind of catching up. And one of the things that Brad asked for is his old job back. And Britt is like, yeah, about that. I mean, I can try, but given your rep, given the people that work there who, don't like you, it's gonna be kind of a tall order right there, bro. And at first he's like, listen, I don't want you to sit there and mess up your good standing, with the hospital and stuff like that. But she was like, listen, you're my boy, I got you. I just gotta talk to Terry and we'll see what we can do. And she talks about, setting up with the matchmaking thing. And Brad is pretty much like, so you're just gonna pretty much kind of re-gift the gift that your mother gave to you. You're gonna just give to. Okay, that's nice. So it's not there laughing up or whatever, and Mrs. Wu, peeks in there, and the look on her face, the look of disapproval. Um, Damn, I thought Carly had some dangerous stares. Jesus Christ, this woman, she was not happy, and she she's the type of person that you always want to sit there and say on your good side, on her good side. I mean, when she walked out, she was like, I can be a great ally, and damn well underneath that, the undertone was like, and I could be a really bad enemy. Um, so yeah, and given that Curtis already had problems with the Novaks at one point, speaking of Novaks, how's Joey doing? Remember that ass whooping he got? How's he doing? Is he coming back, or is he just like he's just done? Oh, wait a minute. I think Sonny said that kind of kicked him out of town. So hmm, I missed that. I mean, this guy was a dick, kind of a jackass, but he did kind of spice things up. So, but we got Mrs. Wu back, so I'm happy about that. Now, after that whole outburst thing with Esme, just being a victim or whatever, Jocelyn's like, listen, I gotta sit there and fight my own battles and stuff like that. I can't have you just kind of, running interference. But now, she's freaking out. She's looking at her phone. She's seeing all sorts of messages and stuff like that. And so she goes in the bathroom to sit there and clean herself up. And Carly calls Diane because Diane, at this point, Carly's like, listen, what they did wasn't just violation, it was criminal. Carly's going to get Diane to sit there and, like try to get somebody prosecuted or whatever. And she was really going in at Esme, you know. But Esme, I gotta sit there and say, Esme held her own. I can give her that much. She definitely did hold her own. She wasn't all like afraid or timid or whatever. She did hold her own. Um, what else we got? Pam comes to see Spencer and gives him something that what's his name? Ada made. And Spencer starts acting like a dick to him. And Spencer accused Cam of being the one that leaked the sex tape. And I'm like, really, bro? So, he swears up and down and, he swears on Franco's life and his brothers and stuff like that he didn't do it. And so Spencer's like, all right, cool, I believe you. That just leaves two other people. And I'm like, well, Trina wouldn't do it. And yet he keeps defending Esme. It's like, oh, well, Esme wouldn't have done it. She left when I did. And Cam's like, and you act like she doesn't know how to use technology. Like, seriously? Um, So he's swearing up and down. Cam calls him out. Cam's like, "You listen, Esme probably did it because you keep sitting there going back and forth with Trina, making Esme jealous, and she probably got upset, and you were pretty much a trigger of it." And I'm sitting there looking at this whole thing, and he even said at one point, he was like, Spencer was like, "Yeah, there was one point I thought that she did do it, but then she left." I'm like, "Bro, listen, you know." That that Trina didn't do it. You know her. I mean, you didn't know her that long, but she's not the type of person that would do that. So that only leaves one other person. I'm literally sitting there like, bro, are you kidding me? I mean, Jocelyn wouldn't sit there and leak it. And if Cam said he didn't do it and you believe Cam, then there's only two other suspects. Now, you already said to Cam and Esme, that Trina didn't do it. So it's almost like he's just sitting there trying to live in this fantasy land of, well, I can't sit there and say that she did it because, I don't know, to him, Esme is, Esme is, hot, according to his standards. Um, so, yeah, he's just being an idiot. So Chase comes over to see Brooklyn, and, he pretty much asks her, like, you just kind of ghosted me pretty much. And if the roles were reversed, how would you feel? Especially, he was noticing like they were getting closer. And then the minute they got close, she just left. But of course, Brooklyn blames the fact that, she didn't leave because of him. She left because of Bailey and stuff like that. Don't get me wrong. I'm not just saying that wasn't another cause of it. But I'm pretty sure that has something to do with it as well. Or at least at least it factored into the decision somewhat. But after they talk about that, um, you know, um, Chase, brings Brooklyn her journal. And, at first she snatches away like, oh, that's private or whatever. And, she talks about the songs or whatever that she wrote in it that she can't sing now because of, now. Um, which I'm gonna be honest, I guess that kind of works for the best with her. I don't know if the actress can actually sing. Now, clearly Chase can sing because he was into singing some lyrics and stuff like that, so he can sing. Um, but I guess because the actress couldn't sing, like maybe it just works for her. Remember the other song that the other Brooklyn sang? Ah, that was such a bad song. I gotta sit there and find that clip. I didn't find that close. I would sit there and do a reaction towards it, but I know because it's kind of current that I don't want to sit there and get a copyright strike. But I'm gonna sit there and watch that video again because my goodness, I don't think I laughed so hard that year than when the other Brooklyn sung that song. You know, the one that the hell was her name? Amy was in it singing. Oh, that was fun stuff. But anyway, Chase talks about how she could be a songwriter, so that's something. Um, Anyway, I have a moment a little bit, and then he leaves, and then that's pretty much about it. I don't know what the hell they're doing with those two. I guess they're gonna sit there and make them a thing eventually, just like they're gonna make Finn and Liz a thing eventually, maybe. And many reasons why I don't sit there and be like, oh man, I want this person to be with that person, because with me, if like they ain't doing it fast enough, I'm just not really like, no. I think that's about it. I did enjoy this episode for the most part. I guess I could have probably did without the Chase and Brooklyn stuff, just because it didn't seem like it was really going anywhere, except for that Chase can sing. But I'm pretty sure he sung at the nurse's ball. Yeah, I think he did. I fast forwarded past that part, but he seemed like he could sing, so that's cool. Um, Other than that, it's like I don't know what they're doing with those two. It just keeps going back and forth. I don't have the patience for that. But everything else is good. So, yes. So with that being said, I'm gonna go. I want to thank you for watching. Be safe. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below, and I will see you in the next video.